Even a child playing with a kite or a pinwheel knows the strength of a strong breeze.
And harnessing the wind to power homes is no longer something that will happen in Wisconsin. It's happening now. Ted Perry's here to tell us there's also controversy blowing. Ted?
Brad and Kat, thanks. First, some background. The state of Wisconsin is demanding that by the year 2015, 10% of the electricity in the state must come from renewable energy. That's solar or hydro, or in case we're talking about tonight, wind power. And for reasons that have to do with space availability and wind speed, most of the wind farms in Wisconsin are along this route in our area, an area that critics have dubbed the Pinwheel Junkyard.
Can we get some treats?
Whenever Doug and Cindy Decker walk out of their Fond du Lac County home,
You're a good boy.
they can see two separate pairs of awesome sights. One is natural, their horses, Tucker and Madison.
You're going to give them one? Hold your hand flat.
The other, man-made, two wind turbines. If you've driven Highway 41 through Fond du Lac County in the last 8 years, you've seen them. They're not the oldest turbines in the state, but they're perhaps the most famous.
It helps the bottom line of the farm, the extra income that we know is going to be there where the crops are so dependent on weather.
The Deckers are unabashed fans of wind energy. They are paid an undisclosed amount by We Energies to have the wind turbines, but they enthusiastically talk about them at no charge.
My topsoil and some of the subsoil that used to be here is all buried down there 4 or 5 feet deep. Now the ground that was down there 5 feet deep is all up here, the rock and the gravel, and then that's what they used to finish backfilling this year. Now this is my new topsoil and subsoil to grow a crop on.
Alan Haas has a farm several miles north of the Deckers. He does not share their enthusiasm. Haas has had 3 wind turbines on his property for the past few months. The lure of $12,000 a year to put the turbines on his land was too good to pass up. Now he wishes he had.
It turned out to be a very bad choice. It's a lot more noisy than what we were led to believe they were going to be.
But Haas's biggest complaint is that the turbines are interfering with his television reception.
We first try different antennas, sometimes digital tuners, but ultimately, if needed, we'll install a satellite system.
As the wind farm project manager for We Energies, Andy Hasselback has heard all the complaints. It's his job to deal with the problems that arise at the utility's Blue Sky Greenfield wind farm in northern Fond du Lac County, while also selling the merits of turning wind into energy.
If renewable is the goal, which the state has said it is the goal, wind is by far the cheapest way to get there.
At this particular We Energies project, 88 turbines will be up and harvesting wind by the beginning of summer. The utility estimates that each unit will produce enough energy for 400 homes a year. Part of Hasselback's job is making sure that literal chasms are patched up to the satisfaction of landowners, and they will be when weather permits. That repair will be relatively simple. The damage done to the land can be fixed, but these wind farms have also scarred towns and friends and families, and no one is sure yet how to fix those relationships.
It's not worth it.
Drive by Kurt Kinchew's house in the town of Byron, and it's very clear where he stands on wind turbines. He hasn't spoken to his cousin for 3 years because, he says, of their differing stances on them.
And that's the sad part, because those relationships will never be the same. And for what? For a couple of $1,000s a year? Not worth it.
From below and from above, the turbines are an impressive sight. Pretty? Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But sound, a lot of it, is in the ear of Larry Wunsch.
On some days they sound just like a jet engine on a plane idling on a taxiway.
Wunsch moved out to the country 6 years ago. When a utility company out of Chicago offered to pay him to host some turbines, he said no. His neighbors said yes, and while legal under the rules set up by the township board, 2 of the turbines sit too close for Wunsch's comfort. The noise is one thing. Another problem is what's known as shadow flicker, as Wunsch recorded with his home video camera.
When the sun gets right behind it, is unbearable.
He's not against wind energy, but he feels there was too much of a rush to put up turbines that'll be here for at least 30 years.
We never took the time as a town and really research things and set up parameters that would protect people like me.
Although Wunsch doesn't live next to a We Energies wind farm, Andy Hasselbach admits that We Energies has learned from the missteps of other developers. Even so, he says pleasing everyone on projects like this is impossible and insists the turbines have been very well received.
They think that from their perspective, the very modest or meager impacts to the community of sound or shadow are insignificant in the grand scheme of the upside of the renewable technology.
Doug Decker is already sold. His only regret is that he has just 2. If you could change anything about it, would you?
I'd put more up.
But Alan Haas still has buyer's remorse and warns other landowners not to bite too quickly. If you had it to do all over again, you knew then what you know now, what would you say to him?
I'd say, there's the door, goodbye, get out of here, forget it, I want nothing to do with it.
And the next battleground in this fight is in Calumet County, where many people, including the 2 men visiting Haas Farm the day we were there, are pushing for tighter regulation, and they've had a bit of success there. When turbines go up in Calumet County, they'll have to be 1,800 feet back from a home compared to 1,000 feet in Fond du Lac County, and that could make a difference, Brad, when it comes to noise. People like Kurt and Larry had problems with on their property.
You know, one of the things that strikes me too is like this fellow Haas here who's farming. If he ever wants to go and sell that farm, are these wind turbines, do they go with the property?
They're there for at least 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking them down is very difficult, but that is a very good point. What happens to those if the landowner passes on or sells the property? Sure. I don't know the specifics of the contract because We Energies and the other utilities keep those confidential, but that is just one more problem that a lot of people say we rushed into this too quickly.
Real eye-opener. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ted.